Hey guys, it is Tuesday, November 29th. Yeah, because tomorrow's payday. November 29th. Yay for payday. We all like to be paid, right? Um, can't buy stash if you don't get paid. So I'm going to do my November video. And yikes. It's the end of November. This year is almost over, you guys. It went by really fast. Yeah. So, yeah, we'll just jump in. Got some WIPs. Got at least one finish. I don't remember exactly what I finished. But I know I finished at least one thing. Got some new starts, got some stash, got some randomness. So, we'll just get to it. WIPs. And I'm probably not as well organized as I think that I am. I promise you that I'm not. I never am. So, WIPs. First WIP lives in my purple bag by now. Wait for it. I know you're going to be shocked. Blackwork Hummingbird. And guess what, you guys? I finished all of the blackwork. I was kind of proofreading it, and I found a couple of stitches that I need to pick up here and there. But I finished all the blackwork. And I am ready to move on to the bird. I've been telling myself I was going to start the bird. Haven't done it yet, but soon. The Euro Whips challenge is having a Whip That Whip challenge this weekend where your postcard pal gets to choose your whip. So Joy, if you're watching, Blackwork Hummingbird. Choose Blackwork Hummingbird. Because 700 stitches in Blackwork Hummingbird would get me like that close to a finish. So there's my Blackwork Hummingbird. Didn't finish it like I was hoping, but I made a significant milestone and I finished the blackwork. I know there are some of you that are still out there contemplating this piece. Please, please, please do yourself a favor and do the blackwork first. I know there's a lot of people out there that did the bird first. Because the bird is the fun part, frankly. The bird is the colorful part. The bird is the reason why most people choose the project. But please do yourself a favor and do the black first. The black can be tedious. It can be repetitive. It can be boring. Some parts of it can be difficult and confusing. And if you do the bird first, you're going to get bogged down in the black. Some people, Marika, seem to whip through it without any problems. But I know there's a lot of people that have had trouble staying motivated and they've been getting bogged down on the black. So please do the black work first. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to your stitchy bag. Do the black work first. So there's that. Achievement unlocked. Black work is done. Next thing. I showed that last month. We won't show that again. Next whip. Curse of the Raven. This is Curse of the Raven by Little House Needleworks. No, not by Little House Needleworks. Carriage House Samplings. Curse of the Raven by Carriage House Samplings. This was enabled by Abby, who I know got it from Emily. So I did not finish this yet. This is where I am. Speaking of getting bogged down, I've gotten bogged down in filling in this green. I am so bored with this green, you guys. So I've been chipping away at it. And you see I finished the entire bottom. I finished the center block. I finished the 2 columns on the sides. And I've made a start there in the top. So I'm chipping away at that a little bit at a time, 1 or 2 or 3 strands at a time. And I'm getting there. Not quite there yet. The bird is still missing his flower. So I'm going to keep chipping away at that. And I will finish it before the end of the year. So there's that. Finish. I had a finish. Here it is under here. No, not that. Here. No, that's not it either. Where is my finish? Here's my finish. Alright. I had a finish. I finished Checkers the pumpkin. Isn't he cute? Look how cute he is. He's all sparkly. The camera doesn't show the sparkle very well. But 7 colors of Krynic, you guys. 7 colors of Krynic. And a couple of shades of DMC. The green leaves are in DMC and the black is in DMC. The face and the back stitch. I love him. It's a freebie on the Krynic website. I'll post the link below. It's still available. So, quick stitch. Took me way longer than I should have, but there it is. Okay. So those are my WIPs and my finish. I have 2 new starts, or 3, 2. So I didn't start one that I had intended to start, because I didn't finish one that I had intended to finish, but apparently that didn't keep me from starting. So I had said when I was done with The Curse of the Raven, I was going to start Giving Thanks by Little House Needleworks. And I went to start it, and the fabric that I went in my stash and I looked for a piece of fabric, and I had pulled out a piece, and when I went to start it, I'm like, this isn't big enough, this isn't going to work. And so I ended up, and I looked for a different piece, couldn't find one that worked. So I ended up ordering the Winter Brew from Stitch and Frog. So now I have a piece of fabric. Of course, after I ordered the Winter Brew, I think after I received it, in fact, I was cleaning up my clutter, and I found the original piece of fabric that I had pulled for it, which I have right here. I don't know which one was the original piece of fabric that I pulled for it, but I think I was going to decide between these two. I think I maybe was going to go with this one that I had forgotten that I had pulled. So, but now I have 2 more pieces of fabric to do something else on. So, I finished the pumpkin. I got Border Green on Curse of the Raven. couldn't start this because I didn't have any fabric. So I was looking for something. This was before Thanksgiving. This was probably about a week before Thanksgiving, and I was being kind of stubborn about Christmas. If you've been following my Instagram, you may have noticed I've been using the hashtag No Christmas Yet on my Curse of the Raven updates. So I've been kind of stubborn about no Christmas until after Thanksgiving. So I wanted something that was kind of wintry, but not Christmas. And I have a whole selection of Santa and a whole selection of Christmas. Didn't want Christmas. And I wanted something small. I'm not looking to start, a big long-term piece. I just wanted a quick stitch. So I found this one. This is Snowflakes in the Pines by the Sweetheart Tree. And I was like, oh, that'll work. Of course, I underestimated how fussy those pine leaves are. So I started that. And I used a scrap of fabric that's in my stash. And that's where I got on it. I think this may be a problem. The model was stitched on 28 count. I'm pretty sure that this is 32 count. And I think that that's going to be a problem for the pine leaf. Or for the pine leaves. Is this going to focus any better than that? I don't know. But I think the pine leaves might look better on 28 count. Just have more definition and be more... The needles would be more distinguishable. Right now it just sort of looks like a blob. So, I don't know that this 32 is going to be the best choice, but that's what I have so far. So, that's Snowflakes in the Pines by the Sweetheart Tree. I don't have the snowflake charm that goes in the center. It didn't come with a chart. I looked on the Sweetheart Tree website, and it is available by the Sweetheart Tree. I'm gonna see if I can find something else. I did actually buy some snowflake charms from the sewing section at Joann. The one in the model is sterling silver. The one that I bought is white. I don't know if it's gonna work, but it was like $2 rather than the $13 they want at Sweetheart Tree for the sterling silver one. So I'm gonna see if it works. I don't know. And then the other start I have, which is barely a start, and I had intended to do more on it over this past weekend, in fact. This past weekend, because I was bored of Curse of the Raven, and I didn't really want to go back. I don't know why. I didn't start the bird for Hummingbird. Blackwork Hummingbird. I've been kind of procrastinating on that. And it was after Thanksgiving. So I was like, I'm going to start some Christmas stuff now. So, remember a few years ago? No, you don't remember, because FlossTube didn't exist a few years ago. Well, it did. It didn't exist in 2009. I stitched, but I know I've shown it. I've stitched the candy cane poo ornament. Well, a couple of years ago I went and found all his friends. And so I started Candy Cane Piglet. And try not to lose the needle. One thing I don't like about perforated plastic is it's really hard to stash your needle. That's my start. I had intended to do more, but I have a situation going in my life that's kind of come to a head. I've been neglecting something that I should be doing, and it's kind of catching up with me, and it's kind of emotional. So the weekend was kind of difficult. So I didn't really stitch on it. I have trouble stitching when I'm upset. I know a lot of people use stitching, to take their mind off it or, to relieve stress, but I have trouble stitching when I'm upset. So I didn't really do a lot. I did take a step towards resolving the issue, and I feel better. It's going to be okay, It's going to be okay. It's just, I need to change my behavior, and it's going to be okay. But, so I didn't really get as far on it as I would have liked. But I'm going to work on that in December. So that's my stitching. So what did we come up with? We came up with 2 WIPs and 1 finish and 2 starts. And in December, my needles are going to need to fly for all the things that I want to do in December. We'll get to that later in the video. Yeah. So let's do haul. Hashtag buy all the things. Yeah, it's kind of been a spendy month. In my last video, I said I had just ordered from Stitching Bits and Bobs, and hopefully it would be here by my next video. Yeah, no, it's not here. When I go on the website, the order status says waiting for Weeks Dye Works linen. So that's not here yet. And I keep having to remind myself what I ordered so that I don't buy the stuff again. Because I've placed other orders since then. So I need to keep reminding myself, oh yeah, I don't order that. So these I'm just kind of gonna go in the order that they're stacked here. Winter Brew Linen, which I think is Weeks Dye Works. I already showed you that. I went to, at the beginning of November, I went to the Fiber Arts Festival here in town. And it's put on by the Weaving Guild. And they have it every year here at the Civic Center. And I think the Weaving Guild intends for it to showcase weaving and spinning and dyeing yarn or thread. But they really make their money on the knitting. I'm sure they make their money on the knitting. So you can go, and they have a lot of yarn for sale, a lot of knitting notions, and the yarn over truck was there. I took a little bit of video. I'll insert it. The camera work isn't very good because I was walking and I was trying to be discreet about the fact that I was filming. So the camera work is kind of shaky. Sorry. Yeah, I'll put that. And I didn't go inside the yarn over truck, but I did take a picture of it, and I'll insert that. And I think I took another picture too that I'll insert.
Yes. That's good. Yes. As a matter of fact, look my name tag. You go straight through and it's to the back on the right. Yeah, I had to have you build it. Yep. So it's exactly right. You would just grab this way.
Um, I, I don't do any of those crafts. I know how to crochet. Haven't crocheted in years. The last thing I crocheted was for my grandmother, and she's been dead for 11 years. Um, so it's not really my thing as much as, say, like a needlework show would be. So I don't even think I stayed an hour. I went down there and I walked around, and it was fun. I looked at what they had. Um, they had a silent auction, and they were having a raffle. Um, the raffle seemed really small. The last 2 years, they've had two raffles. They did one at noon and they did one at 3, and they would have 7 or 8 baskets in each raffle. And this one, I got there too late for the noon raffle. That was already over. But the 3 o'clock raffle, it seemed like they only had like 3 baskets for the 3 o'clock raffle. And they had a lot of stuff for silent auction. I didn't participate in either one. I didn't want to have to hang around till 3. I wasn't interested enough to hang around till 3. And so I didn't participate in any of that. Overall, it seemed smaller than last year. It seemed like there were fewer vendors there. So there may have been fewer people. I don't know. I ran into a friend from EGA. I ran into a friend of a friend who I've met a couple of times. And it's a good thing she recognized me, because I wouldn't have recognized her. If she hadn't said anything to me, I wouldn't have known who she was. So, they had a display there that had a lot of cones of yarn. And there was one, I found one pretty large cone of floss. And it was a pink floss. It was like a dark pink, like maybe something in the 3600 series. I don't know exactly what color it was. It was kind of a dark pink. It was a nice shade. It wasn't like a baby pink. It was a lot of floss. She probably could have done death by cross stitch with it, maybe twice. It was a lot. And I kind of contemplated getting it. I didn't get it. But I will show you what I did get. Remember last year when I went and I got the threads from Redfish Dye? The silks, I got some more. I got two of the spring colors. They're pinks and greens. And this is 6 yards of 8 strand 100% silk floss. So I got 2 packs of the pinks and greens. And two packs of the beiges and grays and blacks, like the neutrals. And 2 packs of purple. Because, purple. And they give you 4 colors in a pack. And it's $8 a pack, so $2. They're $2 a skein, which seems like a pretty standard price for 6 yards of 8-stranded silk. So they have a website, redfishdyeworks.com, and the vendor told me that they have 500 colors on their site, and you can get any of the colors in silk floss. They're mostly a yarn dyer. But she told me you can get any of their colors you can order in floss, and they'll dye it for you. So that was pretty cool. And then the rest of this is random stuff that I bought mostly on Stash and Load. I ordered from Stitch and Frog. I ordered the cray neck for my pumpkin. The pumpkin was... This is a freebie from Kreinik. I said that. And my EGA chapter got permission to kit them up and sell them as a chapter project. So they kit them up, but they only gave you like, I think they gave you like 36 inches of each of the Cryonic colors, which was fine for the berries. I think there's 4 colors in the berries. 3 or 4. I guess there's 3. But the orange and the pumpkin, there's 3 colors of orange in the pumpkin, not nearly enough. And the green for the vines, not nearly enough. So I ordered all 7 of the Cryonic colors. I could have played done with 4, the 3 oranges and the green. But I ordered them from, I think I got them from 123 Stitch. But I decided to throw in a Mill Hill kit just to make the shipping worthwhile. So I got this one. It's Ginger Friends from the Button and Bead series. I don't know if somebody has this. Maybe Katie the Stash Queen has this. I don't know. But I thought it was cute, so I got that. I don't know that I'll get to it for this Christmas, but it's cute. And then this just came in today. This is from Blackbird Designs. This is Spell of the Moon, and it's another Reward of Merit pin keep. I have the pink rose one that I just bought. I think I showed in my last video. Is it called pink rose? I don't know. It's something to do with the rose. So I got that. That's cute. That would be a cute Halloween stitch. This is Mercy Mercy by La Di Da. And it says, teach me to feel another's woe, to hide the fault I see, that mercy I to others show, that mercy show to me. So I got that. Bent Creek, We Wish You a Merry Christmas. And La Di Da, Spring Hair. Remember last year I stitched Dragonfly Fantasy by Dimensions Reflection Series? It's an old out-of-print kit. Well, I intended to stitch, I have another piece, the Butterfly Fantasy, that I had intended to stitch this year. Haven't gotten to it yet. Probably won't get to it this year. Maybe next year. I hope. Well, one night I decided to go looking around to see if there were more in the series. And I had the Dragonfly, I have the Butterfly. I found out there's a pansy that says, the Dragonfly says Explore, the Butterfly says Daydream, the pansy says Imagine. There's a little boot with flowers in it that says Learn, and there's a sun that says Smile. So I went looking to see if I could find any of them for sale, and I found one for sale on Etsy, and it's the pansy. It says Imagine. So I got that. She also had the Butterfly for sale, I think, but I already have that, and I didn't want another one. So I just bought this. And I would love to find the other two. So if you see them, the package looks like this, and it's a boot with flowers in it and a sun. And let me know, or if you have them, I would love to find them. This I got on Stash and Load. And this is Jeanette Douglas. These are part of a series. Tara C. has stitched, I know she stitched one of them. She stitched the pineapple stitches. And I want to say that she's working on pumpkin stitches, or she has pumpkin stitches. I got vintage stitches. Purple, grapes. and the seller had the accessory pack. So I got that. And I got acorn stitches. And also with the accessory pack. So, yay. And they were at a significant discount from retail price. So that was nice. I'm telling you, this stuff is all in a random order. I got some unicorn tails from Lucas. Speaking of stuff that's hard to get, Lucas's stuff is hard to get. Lucas has been having a lot of anniversary sales because it's the 1-year anniversary of his business. And that stuff is hard to get. But I did get 2 unicorn tails. I got Nimbus, and these are cotton. And I got pink. Don't know what I'll use them for yet. This was also something that I bought on Stash and Load. This is Plum Street Sampler's Harvest Keeper. I like the sunflower that she's holding. And the beehives. So, I got that. Sue Hillis. I love this. I got this on Stash and Load too. And to all a good night. Santa's done. He hung up his clothes. I love it. I kitted it up already. Haven't started it, but I made a working copy. I have fabric. I have floss. I have the beads over there. This, I think, might get started this month. We'll see. Yeah, my plans are always more ambitious than I can accomplish, so we'll see. But it's ready to go in the event I ever get around to starting it. There's that Thanksgiving freebie that's been floating around from DMC. It's on I think the website is commonthread.us. And it's the turkeys, and it says give thanks, and it's done in DMC color variations. I think it's 4135 is the color that it's done in. Well, my Joann's does not sell that color in single skeins. The only way they sell it is in the pack of 8. And so I bought one of the packs of 8. I have a story about this. I posted this on Stitch Mania. So I went to get the thread because I'm like, I'm going to do this freebie. So I went to Joann. They don't sell it singly, and the chart says they sell it in the Amazon. This is the Amazon collection of DMC color variations. They had 3 there hanging on the rack, and they all looked kind of funny. 2 of them, the package was open kind of like that, where you can tell that it had been opened. And I was like, let me just check this out, because that's kind of funny. And sure enough, there was a skein of floss missing out of each of them. And then this one here was there, and this one, the bottom was torn like this. And so I didn't get any of them, because I was like, well, they've all been messed with, and I'm not going to pay full price for fewer skeins of floss. And I came home and I posted about it on Stitch Mania. I also posted about it on my personal page. And my uncle was like, well, you can go and ask for a discount. The manager will be glad to get rid of it at half price. He'd rather get rid of it for half price than to have it unsold. So I went back the next day or 2 days later, and I re-inspected them, and the other two packages did have colors missing, but I discovered that this one actually did have all of the colors in it, and it was still sealed here. It was just torn here. So I went ahead and bought this. But then I found out that freebie actually takes more than one skein. I'm not buying 3 more skeins of this. So, or 3 more boxes of these. So, my mother lives not too far from Hobby Lobby, and I asked her to go check it out. They don't have it. So I ended up ordering them. And, it's not here yet. But I got the pack, and it comes with the DMC falling leaves pattern. Oh, here, which I'm sure you've all seen. Several people have stitched it. I'm pretty sure it's available on the DMC website, and it's available here. And they also have this freebie here included, and it says, "Enjoy the wonders of nature, for simple pleasures are there to find." So I kind of prefer the falling leaves one, but got that. Alright. Y'all want to see an unboxing? What's this? Oh. I am underprepared for this as usual. Let's see if I can do this. I bought... Oh, maybe she didn't make it too hard to get into. Do you guys ever buy stuff on Stash and Load and like the seller has it taped up so well that you can hardly get into it? And I hate to use scissors on them because you never know where the pattern is, and I've cut more than one chart pack that way, where I've cut the top off the bag because I didn't know that it was that close to the top. I understand about, wanting it to get there in one piece and mail security and all that, but oh my gosh. So if I can get into this, we'll do an unboxing here. I bought nine. Count them, 9. Here we go. Alright. Issues of the GCS ornament issue from a seller on Stash Unload. And I am not going to flip through them tonight. If you want to see flip throughs of them, I'll do them in a separate video. I'm not doing them tonight. But I haven't opened them yet. As you saw, I just opened the package. They've been sitting here in the box since I got them. $19.99. I haven't looked at these, so I can't tell you what my favorites are. But there's $19.99. I think the trippiest thing about these is going to be and these are just in the order that she put them in the box. The trippiest thing is going to be looking at all the old designers that have stopped designing and have moved on to other things. I could even name some of them off the top of my head. Lisa Steele, Pam Kellogg, Teresa Wensler, Amona Pierre. Like the 1999 issue and the 2016 issue, I imagine that there's not very much overlap in the designers. Like in 1999, we didn't have Frosted Pumpkin, we didn't have Clouds Factory, we didn't have Ink Circles, or they did have Prairie Schooler, but Rosewood Manor, a lot of the stuff that we have didn't exist when some of these were printed. 2010. I'll try to get close up here so you can kind of see some of them. But if you want to flip through, let me know, and I'll do a flip through in another video. 2009. 2008. 2007. 2011. 2012. 'Oh, look at the owl. And 2013. And 2005. I used to buy these every year in the early 2000s. I had a lot of the early 2000s ones. And I don't know why, I think my LNS had changed hands, and she doesn't really carry cross stitch. I haven't been in there in 10 years. And for whatever reason, I stopped buying them. And then last year, I bought 15 and 16. So I filled in a bunch of the holes in my collection. So I got all of those. And then I got 2 more magazines. Remember last month I bought the cross stitch and needlework that had the classic Christmas charm ornaments in it? Excuse me. Well, I made a mistake. The following week I was watching Katie's video, and I realized that those ornaments are spread out over 3 issues. That they're not all in that one issue that I bought. So I went on eBay and I found the other 2 issues. This is November 2014 and September 2014. And then the 3rd issue is January 2015. And here's a bonus chart from one of the British magazines. I don't have them here to show, but I have bought several of the magazines. So, there's my haul. Yeah, wow. Since then, Black Friday, which was a few days ago, I placed orders from ABC Stitch. And then yesterday, I placed an order with Beach Cottage Stitchers, which is actually right down the street from me. It's probably 5 miles away. She doesn't have a brick and mortar shop. I imagine she must rent it. She must have a space maybe in her home or somewhere that she runs it from. She bought the inventory of another shop that was closing. That lady was in her 90s. She was very elderly, and she wasn't in very good health, and she closed her shop, which I was sad about because it was a block away from my job, and I used to go over there at lunchtime sometimes. But I think the lady at Beach Cottage Stitchers, I think her name is Cindy, and so she has an online store, beachcottagestitchers.com. She's 5 miles away from me, or thereabout. And I was a little annoyed that I had to pay $5 in shipping to go 5 miles. I'm kind of hoping that she's going to refund some of that. But I placed an order with her yesterday on Cyber Monday. Over the weekend, I was kind of looking around at some different shops. But I was kind of holding out because everybody had their sales going until yesterday. But I was kind of holding out for 123 Stitch, and then 123 Stitch didn't really have very much of a Cyber Monday sale. So Beach Cottage Stitchers had everything that I was trying to order, and and they were having a sale, and that's how I ended up ordering from them. So other stitchy stuff for the month. I have decided to be more conscientious about using what I have and kitting up from what I have before I go and buy supplies. My stash storage has not been very organized or very neat. I don't know if y'all remember. I meant to bring it with me and I didn't. I wonder what I did with it. I think it's in my room. In one of my first videos, I showed my floss storage. I had it all like my DMC, like in a box, like in a basket that had a lid on it, and it was just all in there jumbled together. It wasn't sorted, and it was kind of cumbersome to go through. So there were several times where I just went to Joann and I bought the floss that I needed because it was easier to buy the floss than to dig through all that looking for my floss. I've done it on occasion, but it's kind of a chore. And so I've been taking steps, and the rest of my floss was the rest of my specialty fibers and my beads and all that kind of stuff, my fabric, was kind of similar, where it wasn't very conducive to going in and being able to kit something up quickly. I had to dig through everything, and so I've been taking steps to straighten all that out and get it all where I can see what I have at a glance, and I can go in and kit something up fairly quickly or determine what I need to buy fairly quickly. So I've been working on that, and I think that it's hardly perfect, but it's better. The floss, I ended up just sorting it by number series. It's hardly exact. It's hardly, like, my storage system is hardly exact. Or precise. But for right now, I sorted them by number series, and I just have each number series in a separate plastic bag, like a Ziploc bag. And that helped a lot. Like when I was kitting Snowflake in the Pines, it took me a few minutes to go and pull the 3 colors that I needed. And I knew exactly where all my beads were, and it took me a few minutes to go flip through them and find the color bead that I needed. So it's been great. I separated out all my specialty flosses. So I was trying to see if I could substitute something, and I ended up going through all my specialty flosses looking for that, and I didn't have anything appropriate to substitute, but I separated them all out, so now I can see what I have in silks and overdyes and Karen collection threads, watercolors, and water lilies and wildflowers. And I'm sure some of those were intended to be matched to a project. The Karen collection threads were probably intended to be matched to EGA projects. I might have to go back and try to pair them up. I don't know. I have a lot of pearl cotton too, which were probably also intended to be matched to EGA projects. I don't know what they were intended for. So that's gotten a lot better. So I think next year I'm going to focus on that more, on kitting from what I have first and using what I have first, rather than just going and dumping all the supplies in my cart at 123 Stitch. Those little check boxes there at 123 Stitch, I'm sure they make a bunch of extra money off those little check boxes, where you can just go and check the box and dump all the supplies in your cart. I'm sure they make a bunch of money from that. Because, we all impulse buy. Don't lie, you do. Um, I'd actually kind of be curious how much their sales went up after they started doing that. And I actually, when I was on Stitching Bits and Bobs last month, I wonder how many sales Bobby loses because she doesn't make it that easy to buy the supplies. In fact, when you look at the chart, she doesn't even list the supplies. And I'm sure she could make a bunch of extra money if she made it that easy to can it up while you were there. And if she had faster shipping, that would be better. Uh, um, so, yeah, I'm going to focus on trying to use up my consumable stash. And I think I'm also going to be more selective about using the Gast and Weeks Dye Works and Silk options on charts. I think I'm gonna use the DMC options more often and use the specialty threads kind of more selectively. Like Curse of the Raven, it took me about 5 seconds to decide I was going to do it in DMC. So that's something I'm going to work on. I'm not going to go on a stash diet. I'm not going to do Stitch from Stash. I'm not trying to limit my spending, although I would probably benefit from doing that. And I know I can do it. I did it from between January and August of last year. So it's not a question of if I can do it. I know that I can, but I don't want to. So I don't want to do Stitch from Stash. I just want to be more mindful to use what I have first and to kit out of my own stash first before I go and spend a bunch of money on buying duplicate beads and duplicate threads and that kind of stuff. Yeah. Let's see what else. New floss tuber, if you haven't found her yet, Kiwi Flower. I'll put a link below. Her name's Lisa. She lives in New Zealand. I knew her from the stitching boards way back when, about 10 years ago. She was really active on the stitching boards when she was in college. And then she kind of disappeared. And I was on FlossTube one night, and I happened to see her come up as a suggestion. Well, I saw the name Kiwi Flower, and I was like, hey, I wonder if that's the same girl. And it is. So I was very excited to see her. Go check her out. She's a Teresa Winslow stitcher. She does beautiful work. And I know a lot of you have found her already, but if you haven't found her, go check her out. Is that everything? I don't know. Oh, no. Life stuff. Because, you know, we all have lives outside of stitching, and sometimes we like to share those. You know I do. Life stuff. Let me move all this. Look what came in the mail, you guys. My diploma. This is my Associate in Arts. And I'm kind of surprised it doesn't say it on here, but it's in Paralegal Studies. I did a quick Google of AA degrees and discovered that some schools put the field of study on there and some schools don't. I was kind of surprised. And my paralegal certificate. So yay! Oh, no, let me not do that. It only took 6 months. I don't understand why it takes them 6 months to mail out diplomas. I graduated in May and I got it in the middle of November. Oh, here's some other stuff that I got. This is, I talked about this in my last video, but I didn't have it handy to show. Here it is. This is a pumpkin fabric. And then I went and I got some quilting quarters of Christmas fabric. And they come in bundles. So there's the red snowflake fabric. Let's see how well I can show these. And there's this fabric that's pine trees and pine cones. And there's this fabric that's like a Scandinavian pattern. And there's this fabric that looks like it's Christmas trees and snow and snowmen. And then the fabric on the back here has houses and trees. And then I got this other pack, red and white stripes. There's some holly leaves. Here's some birds and some flowers. My coworker would like that. Here's some more holly and what are those flowers and birds. There's a bird back here. Oh, you can't see that. There's a bird. And then snowflake pattern. So those would be handy for backing ornaments and finishing Christmas designs. Job stuff, haven't gotten called yet. I imagine it won't be until after the holidays. People are taking off. People are going on vacation. But every time a number comes up on my phone that's local, has a local area code, I'm like, is this it? Is this it? But not yet. Today I had one. I expected to come from a certain area. I expected to come from the area code that covers downtown. So the area that covers the zip code that covers, the area code that covers the area where I live, it's probably not going to come from that area code. But every time I see an unfamiliar number on my phone that's local, I'm like, is this it? Not yet. So maybe soon. Or maybe after the holidays, rather. There was an announcement put out at the beginning of November, sometime a few weeks ago, for another job that my coworker kind of gave me a heads up. Hey, you might look at this. You qualify for it. And I applied for it. I don't know that it's my first choice of job. I don't really know that I want to do that job. But it never hurts to take another test or have another interview, be on another list. So I applied for it. We'll see what happens. We're up to probably about 55 minutes or 58 minutes. I'm kind of chatty tonight, huh? It's almost 11 o'clock p.m. So, did I get everything? I think I got everything. December plans. Finish The Curse of the Raven. Finish Blackwork Hummingbird. Joy, when you're choosing WIPs this weekend, Blackwork Hummingbird. And I want to do some Christmas stitching. Snowflake in the Pines, Piglet. I have some other stuff sitting over there that I pulled out. That's possibilities. Maybe I'll start the Sue Hillis piece. I wanted to finish the Shabbat table topper. Clearly the list is bigger than I could possibly accomplish. But I'm going to do what I can. My needles are going to need to fly to get all that done. But I have the last 2 weeks of the year off. So the week of Christmas and the week of New Year's. And I think my boss kind of approved it without really looking to see how long it was. Because today he asked me when I was taking off and I told him. And he's like, I approved that. I'm like, yeah, you did. So, apparently he generally gives people a hard time about taking off. I don't know. He's not really supposed to do that if you have the time to take. They're not really supposed to give you a hard time about it. But, and they have enough coverage. You gotta have coverage, but I think maybe he didn't really look very closely at how long it was and he just signed off on it. I don't know. Anyway, so that'll help. So yeah, I would really like to end the year with 3 Euro WIPs projects then. The sampler, the hummingbird, and the Shabbat tabletopper. The sampler I took to Aaron Brothers on Black Friday to have it framed. And I hope it comes out okay. I'm kind of nervous. I've never taken it. I usually use a private framer, and I've never taken it to a big box store to be framed. But they were having a 70% off sale on your entire framing order, which is difficult to find. Usually when you find framing sales, it's only on the materials, but you still got to pay full price for the labor. And this was on your entire order. Remind me never to go there when it was full price, because I thought it was ridiculous. It was, and I know a lot of times we try to be coy about how much we paid, but I'm going to tell you how much it was. Or what he told me it was. We'll put it that way. That's what he told me. He told me that it would have been $343 or something full price. And 70% off it was $112. And I thought the $343 was ridiculous because it's a wood frame and it's one mat. And I think it's a paper mat. And I didn't really understand why that would cost $343. My hummingbird, my wizard, remember when I framed Magic in Motion? It has a gold frame. It has a black suede mat. It has 3 more mats under the black suede. And that was 3, and it's a lot bigger. I think the frame is 16 by 20 or something in that range. That was $350 or $345 or something. So I don't really understand why a frame that's probably around 11 by 14-ish with one paper mat would be $300 and some odd dollars. 112 is a lot closer to what I was expecting to pay. And I think that if I had taken it to the private framer, it wouldn't have been 112, but it wouldn't have been $350. I think it would have been like $150, which would have been okay. So yeah, remind me never to use Aaron Brothers at full price, because ouch. I probably could have sent it to Joe Rensel for less than that. So I'm supposed to get that back probably sometime in the next week, and I will show it when I get it back. I think I'm going to be much happier with it. I was never really satisfied with the white frame that I showed you guys last month. So it cost me a few bucks, but I think I'm going to be more satisfied with it. I better be. And I think that's enough rambling for me. So I will see you guys either with a flip through of the ornament magazines if you want to see that, or I will see you guys with a December update. Yeah. So I hope y'all are having a good stitching day, and we're getting into the race to the end of the year, you guys. So happy stitching, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.